Hello and welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. Today we are reviewing the Jazz Trail, the Whiskey Trail blended Scotch whiskey. This is volume 4, made by Elixir Distillers, who also do elements of Islay and they also do SMOS. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of both, and this particular one is a 38-year-old blended Scotch whiskey. Now, what makes this different is that a lot of Scotch whiskies are blended after the aging. They take the barrels and then they blend them to proportion. This was blended 38 years ago and put into a barrel and then bottled 38 years later. So this was bottled. This was blended right from the start. As you can see from the color, there's no mistaking that it is a sherry cask, non-chill filtered, no artificial coloring. So for the 38 years, that's been completely, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. So it's a pretty exciting thing for me to try today. So anyway, as usual, I will put drops of water in that one, and this one is 46.7%. 46.7%, not too high. Usually I probably wouldn't water it so much, but I just, for this experiment's sake, it's something that you got to do. So let's get nosing. Oh wow. Very sweet from the get-go. Slight earth, a little stony, minerally. Got a little bit of a sulfuric note to it, but that's obviously from the sherry cask as well. I don't smell smoke. I don't smell peat. Actually, I take that back. I don't smell peat. I smell a little bit of smoke. Just a faint smoke in the distance, so nothing too heavy. A faint smoke in the distance. Wow, for a 46%, the smell is just very prominent. It hits you smack in the face straight away. I'm getting a slight medicinal, slight herbal smell to it. Some cinnamon, some nutmeg, like a Christmas fruit cake. A little bit of raisin in there, which is pretty typical for a sherry cask. But just a little background on this one as well. Not entirely sure what goes in it, so there's a lot of rumors flying around. It's never really been confirmed what goes in it publicly or, you know, officially. Some people say there's a large portion of clynelish in there. Some people say there's a lot of proportion of macallan in there, an old style macallan, 38 years. That's an old style macallan in there. And if it's both, then that would be great. I mean, the newer expressions of macallan, to be honest, doesn't do it for me. But this particular one, if it doesn't have the old macallan in it, that would be very interesting. So I'm expecting to have quite an old-fashioned whiskey taste in there, but you can smell the tannin coming through now. Very heavily tannined, tannified, whatever, but heavy tannins. I'm getting a fruit like a jam. I think I'm getting maybe like a plum jam, like a really, really condensed plum jam. The dark stone fruit. The herbalness, like licorice. I'm definitely getting licorice in there. Not your Dutch licorice, the salty licorice. I'm getting sweeter licorice, you know, the soft, sweet licorice. Very pleasant on the nose. And around the back of the nose, I'm getting a tiny bit of sarsaparilla, that earthiness, that medicinalness of sarsaparilla. Let's try it with water. Oh wow, with water. With water, the sweetness actually subsides a lot. Note of black pepper. The earthiness comes through a little bit more. I'm getting a bit more smoke in there. but everything seems to be generally relatively the same. Nothing is too over-pronounced, nothing jumps out at you except for those things that I've mentioned. Very interesting. Let's get tasted. Pretty excited. Oh, wow. Now for a 46%, you can definitely feel the alcohol. You can definitely feel the alcohol. It's a little fiery for the age as well. I mean, usually at this age it's mellowed out a lot. It's a little fiery, earthy, a hint of muddiness. Brown sugar, burnt sugar, a little bit of caramel, definitely a raisin influence, Christmas cake, cinnamon nutmeg in there, you can't deny that. But you've got a waft of smoke in the back of your palate and back of the nose and throat. Not heavy, just a little hint of it, which is quite a pleasant experience. The licorice, there's definitely a very prominent licorice flavor in this. That medicinal herbal licorice flavor, a bit of tarragon. I'm getting a little bit of a tiny hint of aniseed. A very complex whiskey. But what I've noticed is the finish is slightly short. So it's not overly oily, a little bit, not overly oily, a little resiny. The nose is very strong. The taste is not as strong as the nose, but the finish of the no water is quite a short, a medium, well not short, a medium to medium long finish. So not overly long at all. I mean, that's been very interesting. You'd think that it'll be coating your mouth, permeating through your taste buds, but it's not at all. It's not overpowering. It's relatively complex, but it's also relatively mellow. Let's try the one with water. I'll throw it out there right now. No water. No water is the vote for me. Why? With water, the fieriness comes through a lot more. It becomes more of a heat, like a mild chili heat, and it's building on itself with the 2 sips I've just had. The black pepper comes through more, but it's lost a little bit of the robustness of the flavors. So with water, it kind of loses a little bit, it loses touch with a little bit of that complexity. It loses touch with a little bit of that power. So I would say no water straight away. But with water, I'm not getting any newer flavors. If anything, the flavors are becoming more subdued. And even the nose has, the smoke is not as prominent, which is a shame because that gave it a good balance from the sweet to smoke. The sweetness is less even, and you can taste the spirit a little bit more because of the flavors becoming less prominent. So my vote is no water. But generally speaking, would I buy this again? Well, look, it depends on the cost, to be completely frank, because this is probably above my budget, and I just want to thank Sunny for letting me taste this whiskey today. And but yeah, I mean, it's quite an expensive whiskey. It's hard to find, actually. In fact, you'll be hard pressed to find it. So if you can find it, just get it if it's not over your budget, because it is a hell of a novelty. Is it a good whiskey? Damn, it's a good whiskey. It's a very good whiskey. I think it's an exceptional whiskey, and it's not a single malt, it's a blended whiskey, but it's been aged, and the barrel selection has been exceptional. Cigar pairings. Look, I mean, it's quite a novelty, it's quite a rare whiskey and relatively, you know, obviously quite luxurious for that. I would say as well, don't put anything too peppery with this whiskey. It is quite sweet, but don't put anything too strong. I wouldn't get a Maduro or something too oily that'll overpower it. I'll get something like because it's luxuriousness, I'll get a Cohiba Behike or a Cohiba Siglo, because Cohiba Behikes and Siglos are not overtly powerful cigars in my opinion, and they will complement each other. The nuances of both whiskeys, both items, the whiskey and the cigar, will complement each other quite nicely. So yes, thank you for joining me today, and this has been very exciting for me to try this. And have you tried the volume 1, 2 and 3? If you have, let me know. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on them. Was it worth it? Did you like it? See you again till next time, and until then, make sure you eat, you smoke and you drink.